Hey, how's it going? The thing on my mind today is the fact that this upcoming election in the United States, the so-called midterm elections, right? Well, they're going to be crooked. They're going to be incredibly crooked. Like in Pennsylvania right now, they have. It's been reported that 240,000 votes have been mailed out. 240,000 votes. That's a determining number of votes in the upcoming Senate race. And if you've seen that Senate race, it's between this TV personality, Dr. Oz, and John Fetterman. Now, John Fetterman, he was in a debate, and it was clear that this poor man is mentally incapacitated. I'm not insulting him. I'm not being ableist. I'm just stating the facts. This individual, as I understand it, had a stroke earlier this year, which is a terrible thing for any human being. But the fact is, a stroke, a vascular accident in your brain, inevitably will have consequences. And Mr. Fetterman clearly is still in the grips of those consequences that affect his ability to think, to speak. On that stage, in that debate with Dr. Oz, whatsoever you might think of either candidate, by the way, it was clear that this man is incapacitated. And of course, you know, the mainstream media said that, oh no, he did perfectly well. Totally gaslighting people. Gaslighting, that is telling people an obvious lie, even when the truth is looking at them in the face. They want to elect Fetterman at all costs. That's pretty clear. Sending out 240,000 votes, mail-in ballots. I mean, come on. We know what's going to happen. Many of those votes are going to fall into the hands of people who are going to vote just one way for one particular candidate. And you're seeing this also on the presidential level, where you had Joe Biden, who was also clearly mentally incapacitated. I mean, he's an elderly man. Whatever you think of him, whatever you think of his politics, whatever you thought of him as a man in the past, today he is a senile old man. He should not be president, for crying out loud. He never should have run for president. But the issue becomes, they want the people on the left. They want their candidate no matter what. They don't want to listen to the people. As far as they're concerned, they have to destroy democracy in order to save it. And let's be adults here. The 2018 election, the 2020 election, and this upcoming midterm election, all crooked. The kind of malfeasance in 18 and 20 was off the charts. We know it. See, when you have a transparent election, you feel no need to cover up the windows into the rooms where they're counting the votes. Now, do you? No, of course not. So, this upcoming election, this midterm election, it's going to be bent. Of course, this would be unless there was incredible transparency that at this stage of the game, it's way too late. Okay, there isn't going to be such transparency. And so in the United States, there is going to be a significant portion of the population that is not going to believe the results. And more to the point, because of the previous two elections, we know for a fact that this one is going to be crooked. And I will tell you right now, I would not be surprised if the Democratic Party holds on to both the Senate and the House of Representatives. And you say to me, Gonzalo, that's not possible, Everybody hates the Democrats with all their various agendas insofar as sex education and this and that, the economy, all that stuff. They're never going to vote Democrat. Do you hear me saying that they're going to vote Democrat? No, I'm not saying that they're going to vote Democrat. I'm saying that the Democrats are going to win. This video, I'm not going to be able to make it after the elections. I'm calling it right now. This election is going to be totally bent. Totally bent. And it's going to be so outrageous. And the worst thing is that a lot of people, they're just going to take it. they're just going to say, oh, well, that's the way the ball breaks, that's the way the ball bounces, or whatever the stupid expression is. They're just going to accept it. And I'm talking about people who are going to be unhappy with the election results, but they're going to be too timid to say a goddamn thing. And more to the point, they're being intimidated, deliberately intimidated, by organisms of the state and the social media to shut up. The United States is a police regime. It is a police state. There is no goddamn democracy in the United States. There isn't. There is a regime, a leftward tilting regime, but no different from fascists and communists and any other totalitarian, authoritarian regime that wants to give the illusion of democratic respectability. But in the end, they are stealing the elections. And these bastards constantly talk about that we have to protect democracy. They're the ones who are undermining it. They're the ones who cannot stomach a dissenting view. And after all, isn't that what democracy is all about? Of tolerating dissenting views? They're not going to tolerate dissent. They don't tolerate dissent. Look what happened to Kanye, for crying out loud. Look at what happens to anybody who's been the victim of cancel culture. Any kind of dissent is silenced. A few days ago, 30 House Democrats signed a letter, that basically endorsed everything that the neocons wanted, but just had a teeny tiny little paragraph to say that maybe it would be a good idea to maybe have a little diplomacy and bring the fighting to an end in Ukraine. And what happened? Within 24 hours, those guys got canceled. Canceled so bad, hit so hard, repressed so much that they had to retract their letter and claim it was a staffer's mistake. That letter was never intended to be released. Come on, man. These people are totalitarians. And you in the United States, you who are just sitting pretty and you're not going to say anything, you're emasculated. And if you're a woman, then I don't know the female equivalent of being emasculated, but you're that. You've been emasculated. You've been gelded. You see those horses at the park, for the little kiddies to ride on? And they look so tired and despondent and just passive. Why do you think that is, huh? You think that a normal horse is like that? No. Those horses have been gelded, like you. The totalitarian party that controls the regime is going to destroy democracy in order to save it. No free speech, no free elections, no ability to dissent by any means. And if you protest, look what happened to those poor guys on January 6th. They're still in prison, aren't they? And has anybody protested that? Has anybody said, hey, this is unfair for these yahoos who all they did was just wander around the Capitol building? If you noticed, as Norm Macdonald pointed out, they were going through the Capitol, rioting in the Capitol, like between the velvet ropes. I've never seen a riot like that, man. I've seen some riots. I've participated in some riots, and I've never seen a riot like that. Where they walk between the velvet ropes and look around like, ooh, ah. And they don't throw down statues, destroy statues, deface paintings, as the minions of the regime do. Because you've seen what the minions of the regime do. Those little purple-haired little twits who pull down statues of racists, who throw paint at masterpieces of our civilization. And are you saying anything? Are you doing anything? No, you're that gelded little horsey. See, a democracy. See, how can I put this? If you don't fight for a democracy, somebody's going to roll you. Somebody totalitarian, authoritarian, is going to roll you and take over. And that's happened. And these are the people claiming to protect democracy. They're going out there destroying democracy so they can protect it. And what are you going to do about it? Nothing.